a lot of what we just heard was the power of connection and the importance. I will just say, almost every interview I get and every single person on this panel is here because of a personal connection.
You are listening to Amplify Your Success Podcast, episode 387. And today you're going to discover from some of the hottest podcasters what they're looking for to book you on their show. You ready for this? Let's get started. Welcome to the Amplify Your Success Podcast. Get ready to ramp up your revenue, amplify your impact, and make your mark in the world. This is the show for experts, thought leaders, and service professionals who want to shatter their limits and achieve that next level. You're going to find out from other experts and influencers how they made it. Now, let's get amplified. Hey there, inspired entrepreneurs and business leaders. It's your host, Melanie Benson, authority amplifier to expert-based entrepreneurs ready to achieve 5- and 6-figure revenue months. And today, I am so excited for this episode. I've been sitting on this for a while. I invited several of my podcasting friends to join me for a very special session for my new Million-Dollar Authority Mastermind. And in this session, members got to pitch the podcasters in real time. But first, I asked them each, what are they looking for? What are the needle movers that are getting experts just like you booked on their shows? And what are the things they're so over that are just like an immediate, no way, no, not getting booked? And this was such a rich, powerful, exciting conversation. I was like, I got to air this. I got to share this with you. I feel really fortunate to have these amazing podcasting women join me and share what has to happen. What are they looking for? And I get to have conversations like this all the time with my podcasting friends, but this is the first time we're going to share it in this fashion. So if you are in a place that you want to take things to the next level, you're looking for visibility that doesn't just get your authority elevated and it doesn't just get your message out there, but actually drives leads and clients, and you are looking to put all the puzzle pieces together, you might want to check out Million-Dollar Authority Mastermind for this year. We're going to be accepting applications again real soon. If you head to mastermindwithmelanie.com, you can get all the details. And in the meantime, I'd highly recommend you go grab my $1,000,000 visibility framework. If you head to melaniebenson.com/framework, this is absolutely free. It's my gift to you to help you really look at what are the pieces that are going to move the needle, that get me on the bigger stages, that get my message in front of the right people that are looking for solutions just like me. And I can do this so much easier because I'm borrowing really powerful visibility streams from my colleagues and competitors, and we're creating these win-win outcomes for everybody. It's very exciting when it all comes together, and I'll share with you the 7 key pieces that need to be there to help elevate your brand, your message, and your money. melaniebenson.com/framework. Now, let's get into this amazing conversation. Get your pen out, get ready to take some notes, or your phone and your note app on your phone, whatever you like to do, but you're going to want to take some notes on this episode today. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everybody, to the kickoff of our Million-Dollar Authority Masterminds. This is our visibility event. And the whole concept here, the whole desire here is that we are going to, here's everybody coming in right at the last minute. There we go. That we're going to create a space to, first of all, spotlight some amazing hosts of amazing shows. Thank you, hosts, for being here today. I want to illuminate for our community, what is it that people like you are looking for? What's moving the needle right now to get them booked on your shows? And I think that this is such a popular strategy. So many people are coveting an opportunity to be in the spotlight. You know, that's what I do. I teach and up-level my own community and my clients so that they make great guests that you can't wait to book. And so I want to start today with just giving a round of questions to you to really start to get inside your head of like, what would get somebody booked on your show? And then we have some amazing guest experts here. They are all graduates of my 100K Authority Accelerator program, and they're going to introduce their topics to you. And hopefully, there's some wonderful matchmaking being made, some inspired opportunities for them to get on your show. And as you know, there's a little spreadsheet where you can just drop in real time. I'm going to ask you guys for some feedback and say, hey, maybe one of you guys share some feedback if you've got any about their topic, whether it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to book this, or hey, like maybe a little tweak here or there. They're used to that for me. And then we'll end up with some networking today. And I know some of you are at an event and everybody's got a lot going on, but if you could squeeze in those last 20 minutes or so to do some networking, I want to make sure you guys get connected outside of the pitching and the kind of being in the spotlight, because you guys all are amazing and there's some great connections to be made here. So without further ado, let me spotlight each of you. I want to kick off this panel with, the 1 to 2 sentence, hey, here's what I do. This is my show, right? So who are you? Where are you in the world? What do you do? And what is the name of your show? So I'm going to take you guys in the order you came on. So let's start with you, Tiphany.
Yay. Hi, everybody. So I'm a serial podcaster, which means I'm kind of constantly starting new shows. I like to experiment and try new ways of doing things and create new shows. So I'm actually between shows right now, just sunsetted one, and I'm going to be launching another. My shows always focus on women doing extraordinary things, often women being in places where it's mostly men. I was on a panel today of all men, and I was the only woman. They're all in black, and I'm in hot pink and sparkly shoes because you got to show up. And so that's basically my podcasts. Whatever iteration they're in has something to do with us showing up as ourselves in spaces that are typically dominated by men. I personally have a business. It's all about audio. We're audio producers, audio editors, and we're opening a big studio soon. So I have a few extra gray hairs because of that. That's me.
Thank you, Tiphany. Thanks for being here. She's squeezing us in between all of her duties at Podcast Movement today. So thanks for being here. Let's see, Tanya, why don't you jump in next?
Hello, everybody. I'm Tanya Smith, and I am the live stream facilitator and host of Stream Like a Boss TV. And so, as implied by the name, a lot of what I do has to do with video and live streaming. And so, I work a lot with coaches and other service business providers who are trying to leverage video in order to get more visibility for their brand, to create a bigger audience, to create conversations that convert, is what I always like to say. So the folks who are typically on my show are folks who show up using video content strategies in some way, whether it's produced or it's live, or it's even if you're behind the scenes and not quite having your on camera face. So really what I'm looking for in terms of potential guests would have to be anyone who really has already ventured into the space of video, or if you're learning, you're at least willing to come on and talk about some of the mistakes and I guess, the things that you faced, the challenges that you faced with using video to be more prominent in the online space. That's it.
I love it. And you are a pro in that space. So I'm so glad you're bringing your magic to us today, because you're going to have a little bit different perspective of what you're looking for. So thank you. Tish, let's pass the microphone to you, my friend.
Well, hello, y'all. So my name is Tish Times, and similar to Tiphany, I've had a podcast. I put it to bed a couple of years ago, and I'm relaunching another one. My podcast is called Sold Out Sales. I am a sales expert. I work primarily with coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, and we're kind of focusing on those that don't necessarily love the whole world of sales. They're rock stars at what they do. They do amazing work, but asking for the sale is not always comfortable. And we want to have conversations about not only competence in sales, but confidence and giving people the tools, the language, and helping them to fall in love with sales. And I'm super excited to meet all of the rest of you all and hear more from the panel that we can't see right now.
Yay! Yeah, so they're in stealth mode right now, so they'll be up after we're done with our official interviews part, and we're going to bring them up one at a time. So, Samantha, all the way from Australia, 6 a.m. in the morning, bright and shiny for us. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My show is Influenced by Design. We talk to coaches, experts, consultants, and we have conversations around strategic growth, impactful branding, and really a business that creates your vision of success and fulfillment. So we cover all sorts of topics that would be exciting for anyone that's building their coaching practice. So that's me.
And Samantha and I have co-hosted a show together. We do it in seasons called Next Level Influence, and we're excited to start booking for that show later this year.
Absolutely.
Shay, hello. Introduce yourself and where are you in the world and what is your show about?
Hello, hello. So at this moment, I am in my home office just outside of San Francisco, California. But yesterday I was in Dallas, and next week I'll be in Austin because we're in event season. And so that is a little bit about what it is that we do at Grace and Ease. But my show is Creating Powerful Impact, where I'm really looking to connect with thought leaders, coaches, experts, anybody out there looking to create a wave of change with the work that they're doing in the world. And I like to kind of look and peek behind the curtain because in event production, everybody wants to see what's the behind the scenes and what are what are those breakthrough moments? What happens right before the breakthrough and the lessons that you learn along the ways, and how you continue to grow and scale your business. And obviously we like to do it through events, but it's really for anybody in the world looking to create impact. And I love to hear that behind the scenes story for that transformation.
Yeah. And you guys each, I've been having, except for Tanya, I've been blessed to have been interviewed and have dialogues and explorations with each of you. And you're just such powerhouses, which is why I'm so excited that we're recording this and sharing this in a bigger way. Because I think, first of all, hosting a show is no small feat. Being consistent with it, there's so much that goes into curating the right guests and the right energy and creating this blend of intimacy with your audience, as well as like unpacking the value from your guest. And each of you are just so brilliant at that in your different show formats. So what I want to do next is, and this is the short version of the answer. I know you guys could probably do a whole master class on this, but I want to know from you, because I'm sure you, like me, get pitched thousands of times, whether your show is active or you're bringing it back. And I know that you probably know hundreds of people that you could invite to your show. What is the thing that you look for that gets a guest booked? And it could be an energy, it could be like something about their pitch or their topic. You know, our audience here today, they're wanting to get on your shows. So what is it that you're looking for? Shay, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely looking for people that are wanting to create powerful impact in the world. It's not just about what it is that you do in the world, it's like actually making impact. So, if you've got a piece of your business where you add in a give back, and like, so for instance, one of them has created a part of their world is pulling out trash out of the ocean because they love the ocean. And so everybody who joins their community, it goes towards that. And they've pulled out 9 Golden Gate bridges full of trash out of the ocean, right? Like that kind of like, yes, let's create some impact. And you could be creating impact with what it is that you're doing just in your all day, everyday life. But I'm wanting to look at how we do it also at scale. And so how we continue to do that, how do we continue to develop our teams and create communities around that? So it's more than just impact in just one area, it's impact in multiple areas of your life and business.
Ooh, I love that. And what a beautiful vehicle to illuminate that impact in the world is through a podcast. So such a perfect platform to bring all those impact-driven people to the greater impact of the world. Samantha, let's turn to you next. We've had lots of conversations about this. What's one thing that could get someone booked on your show that you look for?
Yeah, I think going off the back of what Shay just said, it's really focusing on audience first. So I think that when someone pitches me a topic, it's how can you wrap it up in your specific personal way that makes it sound really compelling, that has a very clear framework, and that puts the audience first. Like, how is it going to be a win for my audience? Because as podcast hosts, we spend so much time serving our audience, and having someone come straight out and say, hey, I've got this thing that talks about me and puts me in the spotlight. It just does nothing for us, right? I can see everyone just like, uh-huh. So it's really like, how can I wrap up that framework and explain to you how this is an outcome for your audience? You know, if your audience is here, we're going to talk about this framework with these very clear steps. I'm okay to go deep on it. I'm not going to, gloss over it. And I'm going to help your audience to make this transition to here. So as a host, that's really what will, stand out as a pitch.
That's well said. Yeah. And being able to articulate that in the pitch, I think, is where that, I don't want to say it's mastery, but it's a little bit of a skill that I know my members have learned, but that's what we hope to see quickly in the email or the communication we're receiving. Love that. Thank you, Sam. Tish, let's move over to you.
Well, Samantha stole my answer, so I mean, same thing. It's like I'm here to love on the people. And if someone comes and they're in the choir, like me, and that's all they want to talk about is themselves, that's the quickest way for them not to be selected as a guest on my podcast. And like she said as well, it's literally like, what can they walk away with at the end of that episode? What can they put into action right now? It's also going to make them say, oh my God, this podcast is giving me life. I need, I'm getting what I need from it. And so if a guest can come with that level of love for the people, willingness to share with reckless abandon, and because I teach sales, if they come across salesy and I can see that all they're there for is to sell their stuff and pitch themselves, then they're not going to be a great guest for this show.
Getting some love there. Yeah. Yeah. And so I got a quick follow-up question for you on this. And I would love, how are you able to identify that when somebody's reaching out as the guest? So is there something that might be present? And maybe it's just you don't know at that point, but is there something that someone could pitch you with that would really bring that point home for you?
Yeah, I literally wrote a book called Networking is Not a One Night Stand, because it's so evident when someone approaches you what they really want if you're paying attention, right? So if in the pitch it's literally like, hey, I and me and we and I and it's pretty evident in the way someone sets something up what their real motive is, and if that agenda is, even if it seems hidden, it's definitely going to be something that's going to make me think twice about bringing someone on. Especially, and this is probably really good for your members of your cohort, especially if they're fairly new and have not had a chance to hear them on other podcasts to know how they really bring, themselves to that interview. That's going to be a no for me, because I don't know what you're going to say, but based on what you've written, I'm under the impression that you're probably all about yourself and not really for my audience.
Love it. Thank you. Tiphany, let's move to you.
So I'm going to 100% agree with everybody. So I'm not going to repeat what they said, because that's all, you guys are on fire. So here's a little tip for capturing the attention, because we get inundated with emails, or DMs, like, oh my God, people sliding to the DM. Yes, gets under my skin. But here's a little tip. If you follow the person you want to get on their podcast, you follow them on a social media channel, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, like wherever you're at, and you follow them and you engage with them, and then your pitch is, hey, this thing you've been talking about and this guest you had on and this series you had really resonated with me. Here's the value I think I could add to that because this was really cool. It really fired me up, and I would love to keep that going and get involved with your audience in this way because. And so if you show that you know what we're talking about, because we each have an individual way we approach, and you've been following and you're part of our community, like you're going to get noticed because you're not just sliding into our DMs or just sending us some cold email. Like actually listen to the show, actually engage with the content, be there, and you'll get on the show. And you just be asked to be on the show, right? Like that's, to me, that's my favorite way to have somebody on my podcast is people that have been engaging and I'm seeing how active they are. I follow them back because people notice. We all know how hard social media is. If somebody's engaging and they're commenting and they're really a positive, you're going to check them out. Who is this person? Oh God, Melanie's really awesome. Hey, Melanie, literally did this. Melanie, you're really cool. This message you have, will you come on my podcast? Because this is what you're doing is awesome. And of course, her episode was everybody was like, oh my God, Melanie's amazing. I'm like, yeah, I know, because she engaged with me and I engaged with her, and it's great. So it becomes this warm interaction. So no cold pitches, friends. Don't cold pitch. Like get involved. Know who we are. Know who the person is you want, and get involved with them.
I love that. I love that you're basically reinforcing one of the strategies we just learned a couple weeks ago in the program. And yeah, okay, I've got to follow up to that, but I'm going to turn to Tanya next. Tanya, wrap us up on this segment. What's something that you're looking for from a guest that would get them on your show?
So what I'm looking for is very similar to what everybody else has already shared. The thing is, we have a lot of fun on the show. So it's not all gear and techie stuff. In fact, a lot of the guests that I have are not really, they're not videographers or video marketing experts. They just leverage video in their business and in what they do to help their marketing be more effective. So for me, I pulled up my little list of focus because there's two things that I do to qualify folks. One, and this is similar to what Tish shared, is it's important to me to make sure that we have a gel, like that there's some type of alignment. I can discern pretty easily when I meet people whether or not they're going to be the right guest for the show because I know my audience and I know what they respond to. So if you are someone who is interested in coming to my show, one of the things that I ask is that one, you do video, but two, you're using it to leverage your expertise in other ways. So for instance, I look for people who do have maybe video gear solutions, maybe email marketing tech or knowledge, financial advice, getting more leads, mindset for success. So if there are topics that you talk about in your own space, but you're using video to get the point across in some way, shape, or form, then I want to meet with you personally so we can talk about it. And I can hear some of the things that were already mentioned before. I can hear that you have a heart for service. I know that it is something that's going to connect with my audience. I know you're not planning to come and read slides, because I have had a couple of people that they kind of proposed that, and I said, no, it's a conversational podcast or video stream. So, yeah, I'm looking for people who I connect with well, and I know they're going to connect with my audience well. It's about conversation. It's about service to others, and it is about knowing your skill, like knowing what you're an expert at, because you're sharing with other people potential solutions that they can leverage and use.
Well said. Thank you. I'm going to add something into this. And then, panel, we're going to skip to the last question just because that was so rich and we kind of dipped into the second question a little bit on things to avoid. I want to just summarize something to the community here, and that a lot of what we just heard was the power of connection and the importance. I will just say, almost every interview I get, and every single person on this panel is here because of a personal connection. Because we are recognizing that, like, the collaborative effect, and I know not everybody recognizes that collaboration can be more than just like, hey, let's joint venture together. But this is really about, this is like, hey, how do we have each other's backs? I like this person. I want to keep contributing to their world. They're going to contribute to my world. And the network is where the gold is. And it's part of why I'm really excited about what we're doing here with the Million-Dollar Authority Mastermind, because the network has gold. And cultivating that network with people who can open doors for you is priceless. So I know each of you in your own way have experienced that too. Okay, let's jump right to my final question for you, and then we're going to get the panel, the individual people up here to share their topic with you. Okay, so you can answer this one in two ways. Either answer what is something that is a horrible thing to do that would get your episode tossed in the trash, or what is something buzzworthy that when your guests do this, it's fire. And it's literally like that episode is binged and talked about and shared, and you know that's going to be one of your audience's favorites. So you pick. If you've already talked about some of the don'ts, you might want to skip to the second one. Shay, Tish wants to go right in, friend.
Yeah, this for me is hilarious because I have, to this day, this lady keeps reaching out to me. My podcast has been put to sleep for over a year, the previous one, and she's just like, is that podcast episode ever going to air? I'm like, no, because, and this sounds terrible, but she was just so boring. I was literally like pulling answers out of her, and it was the driest, and I was just like, I just can't. Like Tanya said, it was no fun. It was just terrible. And so for me, I want it to be fun. I want it to be engaging. I think people who would follow me know that I get really excited when I'm talking to people, whether it's on stage or on podcasts or whatever. And so if you're coming back with, yes, and that's it, I'm like, come on, can you give me more? Can you give me
unpack that a little, would you?
Yeah, so I think people may not realize the importance of bringing their personality to the interview, bringing their authenticity. Like you were saying, it's like you're not reading slides, you're not on 2020 getting, called out because you were doing something wrong. You're literally here to share your goods, your brilliance with an audience, and so bring that. Don't bring your practiced perfect, that's not real self. Bring you to that interview.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Tish is going to activate the fire, so you better bring the fire. Thanks, Tish. Who else is jumping up? Yeah, Shay, I saw your head going.
Yeah, I love that. Please be engaging. Please use story. We want to see how whatever it is that you're doing in the world is creating impact and is helping and supporting people, and tell us the story about it. But also, if there's a way that you can give us a win while you're on the show with us, or have our audience do something like a little small micro win, a little something actionable that they can go and just do right then and there, like pause the podcast and like go and do it and get some type of result. Oh, I love those ones. And it also supports you, because whatever the next step would be like, if she's giving or he's giving me value right now, just imagine what the downloadable is going to be. Just imagine if I decided to work with them, what it would look like. If I'm getting crazy awesome value right now, just imagine. That's the ones that I love.
I love it. All right, Tiphany, you had that head going. I have a feeling you've got something you want to add in there.
Oh my God, I feel like we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, give me your short version.
Yeah, the short version would be the best way to not have your episode published is to just talk nonstop about nothing in particular. I had a guest do that for like 30 minutes and didn't take a breath, so I couldn't jump in and redirect. And that was like, I just can't do this. But the ones that have done the best are the ones where people come in and they have a clear story and it's concise and it's engaging and it's emotional, and people can see themselves in that story, and like they want to be your friend because you told such a great story, and they know you get them because you have the same struggles they have. You're not there to be the sage on the stage. You're there to say, hey, I'm on this journey with you. And here's the mistakes I made. And here's the win I had. Here's what I learned from my mistakes. And like, people don't want perfection, they want inspiration. And so if you can be that person and say, I'm on this journey with you, I'm here with you, I'm perfectly imperfect just like you, then people love that. They engage with that. And I've had people send me pictures of their post-it notes where they're like, oh, I had to stop the episode and I took this note and this was the note I took, and that's exciting as a host to know that you had somebody on that made somebody stop their, to take a moment out of their precious day to write a note down, right? And say, this impacted me. And so can you be that person of impact? Can you bring that person into your story and bring them along for the ride and just say, like, I'm here with you on this journey?
What I heard from that is the power of transparency and vulnerability. And you do such a great job of pulling that out of your guests. Like one of my favorite episodes ever was what you pulled out of me about vulnerability and really like bringing that authentic energy forward. So, I think a lot of what we're talking about here is equally co-created by the host and the space that the host creates, as well as what the guests are. And I'm getting so excited for my community here because they've all they've got this on steroids. So this is good. Tanya, Samantha, when you guys want to go next?
Sure, I'll share one quick way to not. So I'm live. So my live stream this is the reason why I have to vet in person ahead of time. So there is no room for you won't be published because it's live. Ahead of time, what will tell me that we probably need to not move forward is if you're not prepared, is if you make the decision that it was not important enough for you to put yourself together. And I'm not saying you have to have full makeup on and all of that stuff, but I'm saying clothes in the background, um, babies running around naked, which I have had on my show. I have had a child streak across the show.
That's a different kind of show.
It was a different kind of show. So being prepared and valuing yourself, my audience, and, respecting me enough to show up as though it's important, to appear good, well, because it's a visual thing. For me, it's video.
Yeah.
So show up at your best. And I don't mean, again, that it has to be perfect, but I mean clean. Give me an idea of what our audio and video is going to look like. I give a full checklist. I run through all the things that need to be done. So if people just disregard that altogether, that tells me it's probably not a good match.
Yeah. That's such a great point, Tanya. Thank you. I literally had somebody show up for an interview one time in the middle of the woods on his cell phone, and he couldn't understand why I wasn't going to rebook him. I was like, come on. So, Samantha, let's wrap up with you. What's going to set the episode on fire, or what's a deal breaker?
So there's got to be energy. For me, it's all about the energy that is happening between myself and the guest. And my listeners binge my show. They turn up twice a week to listen, and they can tell when the energy isn't there. So there needs to be, and you mentioned it before, there's got to be a vulnerability to be open to take the conversation wherever I, as the host, want to take it. Like, we don't script it. You've got a framework, but we've got to explore the depths of where that could take us. And when you're open to exploring where this conversation could go, that's where we're creating magic, because most guests have been on other shows. So how can I share your framework with my audience in a way that no one's heard before? And that's what I really want to bring to the audience and to that specific episode, because that's not just great for our audience, that's also great for the guest. And as a guest, there is a ratio right now of 1 to 17. For every one show, there is 17 guests that are lining up ready for an episode. So what is going to make you stand out? And it's the energy. It's that extra little secret sauce that you can bring.
Yeah. Thank you. This was so profoundly insightful.
Thanks for tuning in today, Amplifier. Be sure to join us right now in the Amplify Your Authority community at authorityamplifiers.com, and I'll share my 7 proven tips to be a highly paid expert that stands out in a crowded market. Plus, we're going to keep this conversation going, and I want to hear from you how you're going to amplify your authority and make a greater impact. Before you go, please take a minute to give our show and our guests some love over on your favorite podcasting platform. Subscribe, rate, and review. Leave your full name, and I'll spotlight you and your authority on social media.